everybody. Okay, sorry I'm late. I had a technical thing because the technical things are the hardest things. And I'm actually going to do one little smooch of a thing. Okay, it's Lily's news, you guys. It's time for Lily's news. It's 5:08, my B. Hi, Crystalline. How are you? I hope everyone is well. It's Lily's news. I do not have a headache like last week. Oh my gosh. I watched a little bit of the footage back from last week. Oh my god, I am so sorry. I didn't realize that my headache literally ended me. That was insane. That was wild. Okay, we have a crap ton to talk about today, so we're just gonna jump into it. Hello, I'm Lily. This is Lily's News. Live at 5. Oh wait, so sorry. This is Lily's News. We're live. We're talking about the things that throughout the week I have been like just fixated on. So let me just get back to my multiple page Word document. Pandas are going back to China. We have to talk about this panda situation because it's actually making me really sad. So pandas, all of the pandas in the United States have been on loan for it was like a 50-year loan for a lot of pandas to be in the United States. And no, they're not roaming free. They are in zoos. So a lot of the zoos that have pandas in them are no longer going to have zoos in them, and the majority of them no longer have the pandas. Already gone because China said, I want my pandas back. Okay, so this is insane. So the panda situation is actually really weird. So, well, it's cool, it's great, it's good to have pandas. Okay, let's start with one. Pandas are super cool and they're adorable and we love them. They're dangerous. They're some of the most dangerous animals, and they could just break all of your bones really quickly. But they have been on loan from China because pandas are obviously pandas don't grow in the States. Pandas aren't from the United States of America. We don't have the right climate. We don't have the right food. So China hasn't been happy with how things have been going lately with us, the U.S. with us, and so China said, we're going to take our pandas back, and we're not extending any contracts that we have with anyone in the United States. So that means that pandas literally got to get FedEx back, literally got to get FedEx back to China. Now, this is a big disappointment for a lot of zoo goers, for a lot of animal enthusiasts, and just for a lot of people just in general, because pandas are quite incredible. They do live long lives, about 20, 30 years, is like typical for a panda in captivity. Pandas are very low on their population. So bringing pandas to the United States and putting them in preservations, and protecting them gave the panda population a boost because they were able to have babies in safety. They were able to have babies in care. The small population of pandas were able to kind of get separated so that each panda was able to get as much care as possible for their population to not just continue to exist, but to continue to grow. And so babies, the contract was like babies after a couple weeks or months went back to China after they didn't need to be with mama panda no more, so that they could grow up and etc. And we've had pandas over here for almost 50 years from China. It's been a big deal. It's been a big hit. Pandas also are a fantastic reach to get people to go to these zoos or wildlife preserves. So not having these pandas anymore is a really big deal, especially if you're like a young kid and you go to the zoo and like the big cities, and they've always been a hit. A lot of these zoos focus all of their kind of like things that they do around these pandas because they're so exquisite, they're so rare, and they're so important. And they're so adorable. So it's kind of like a win-win. They're rare and they're important, and they're also the cutest things on planet Earth, because a little panda, you just want to squish his little face. So not having these pandas is really disappointing. They're all going back to China, and they literally go into a box and get on a FedEx plane and get FedEx back over. to China. So I don't know if there's a bigger marker in how the world is sort of handling the idiocy and the psychopathy of the current United States and their dealings. Obviously, there's reasons that us as the United States aren't really happy with China as of right now, and why China isn't happy with us. We have been getting a little stricter on the imports and what is made in the US and what is made from China and all that stuff. So that's China basically retaliating and saying, we want our pandas back. Bye. So that was crazy, and I'm really sad about it. Pandas are so cool, but as long as they are fine and happy and healthy, that's really all that matters. But a lot of these zoos are going to have to figure out other ways to get people into their zoos. They're going to have to figure out different attractions to keep these zoos open. They were a big moneymaker for these zoos and wildlife preserves. So that's a big thing. That's a big thing. It's a big thing. It's a big, big thing. Let's just go deep. Let's just head right into the Mr. Beast, Rosana Pansino, and we are going to kind of wrap it into Colleen Ballinger again. So let's start with Rosana Pansino. You might know her from Nerdy Nummies, or just kind of just being on the internet for forever and having a massive following, and just being, her cool little baking adorable self. She has like a high-pitched voice, and she's petite, and she's sweet and kind and like delicate, and she's just like an icon of the internet that really is never, like, in the grand scheme of things, never in any drama for the most part. And so it was really interesting when her tweet about Mr. Beast and some allegations that she had popped up. So Rosana Pansino tweeted out a few weeks ago, Mr. Beast lied and edited me out of the top 3 in Creator Games 3. So this was, I believe, 2021. Creator Games was a show hosted by Mr. Beast. We all know Mr. Beast, but it was a YouTube Red show, so it was like produced by YouTube itself as a creator. So Mr. Beast lied and edited me out of the top 3 in Creator Games 3. So let me read her tweet. It is kind of long and it's a little blurry. So, okay. I had participated in Creator Games 1 and 2 and was excited to be a part of YouTube's Creator Games 3, hide and seek at SoFi Stadium. So it was a big hide and seek game of a bunch of different YouTubers. After filming had wrapped, I truly couldn't believe how well I did at the competition and was proud of what I had achieved. I had placed 3rd, which is pretty cool, which is great. Good for you. Love it. When the video was released, I was shocked, disappointed, and felt hurt. Mr. Beast, Jimmy, that's his government name. I guess might be James. I don't know if Jimmy's his government name. That also might be a nickname. Had edited the video to make me look like I performed worse than I did. This was extra upsetting because I genuinely believed him when he said that it's blurry, when his videos are authentic and real. He edited the video to look like the final 3 people were Lorray, Logan Paul, and Zach King. The final 3 people were actually Zach, Quackity, and myself, Rosana. So for the entire duration of filming, we all wore earpieces connected to walkie-talkies. They would announce in our ears when someone had been found or when we had to move hiding spots. So it was sort of like this elimination hide and seek. So here was a big space, a big stadium, and they had rules about where you could go. And then about, every so often it was, hey, we're squeezing in. Kind of like Fortnite, how the circle gets smaller and smaller and smaller. The places where you're allowed to hide get smaller and smaller and smaller. It makes it easier to find, it's easy to find 10 people in a big room, but it's not as easy to find 2 people in that same size room. So it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. You have less places to hide. It kind of cuts down the time on finding people. Plus, you have to be sneaky when you're moving from one spot to another. Also, what you could also get caught in. So I thought, it's a cool concept. It's a cool concept. While I was Okay, move hiding spots. If we didn't move, you were immediately disqualified. So if you didn't fall into the new area, you were disqualified. So, and then you're out. While I was still hiding, they announced that they found Logan Paul. I couldn't believe I outlasted him. He is a fierce competitor. It was getting really late. We filmed for over 24 hours straight, and they eventually offered me money to come out of hiding and quit. And so we've seen in a lot of Mr. Beast videos, if you've seen Mr. Beast videos, you've seen that he will offer money, like a smaller amount of money than like the actual jackpot prize, to fellow competitors to say, if I'll give you $10,000 if you walk out now, or you can still keep playing for the potential $1 million. We'll get to the prize in just a second. And so he does that as a thing that's, a lot of game shows do that type of thing, let's see, do you want to be a millionaire? What's that one? Would you like to also be a millionaire? Whatever that game is. It's like, okay, you answer 10 questions. Do you want to take the money, or do you want to, challenge it type of thing? She declined. I had been counting the eliminations, and I was currently in 4th place, with Lorray, Quackity, Zach, and myself still remaining. Jimmy asked us to move hiding spots again to the side of the stadium with the mannequins. I guess there were mannequins in there. It was at this time I was found in transition. So when she was going from where she was currently hiding to the new zone of hiding spots, she got caught. When Jimmy found me, he brought me to the field to be with the others that had also been found. I thought I had placed 4th. However, Lorray had fallen asleep and hadn't moved in a long time, so he was disqualified. You didn't move from the corridors that were set up for where you were supposed to hide, so you're disqualified, making her coming in 3rd instead of 4th at what she believed. When I arrived to the field, I saw Matt, Pat, and Logan there because they were seekers now. Jimmy said he was going to go look for Zach and asked if anyone wanted to join him. I offered to help, but he said he wanted to take Logan instead. So I hung back to start looking for Zach in a different direction with Matt, Pat. I placed 3rd. Quackity placed 2nd, and Zach placed 1st. Oh my gosh, that wasn't how words are spoken at all. And Zach placed 1st. This is what actually happened, despite Jimmy editing out the only female in the top 3. I was proud of what I achieved. I followed the rules of the game, gave it my all, had fun, and never gave up. They can't take that away from me. So this was a bombshell that just lit the internet on fire when it first came out. So this was Rosana Pansino, essentially, I don't want to say quiet person, because she is very eloquent and well-spoken, and she's not necessarily quiet, but when it comes to people who speak out about the drama, we'll just say, she's not always there, right? She's not the first one to speak. And if she does speak, it's going to be very, here are my words, moving on. And so when this happened, it was a big deal. And immediately people were like, what the crap is going on? We need an explanation. We need more information. So right before Rosana posted this tweet, she was actually on Trisha Paytas' podcast called Just Trish, talking about it. And so she shared verbally about what happened that day. It was a very long day. She was on set for over 24 hours. Just shooting the show was like a 24-hour ordeal. It was a very long day. It was tiring. It was tense. And she already felt like she was in a woman in a boy zone. And then to have this happen to her was actually extremely disappointing. So the prize of the Creator Games was $1 million to the winner to be given to their community in any way they chose to give. It could be to their followers. It could be to their actual, like, where they live community. It could be one person gets 1 million, two people get 5. Like, they could split it up however they want, but it's for them to give away, which I think is a fantastic sentiment to a game produced by very rich people. So I thought that was great. And Rosana was able to recognize that she was not going to win. She did not win. She wasn't going to win, even if she was in 4th or 3rd, or if Jimmy edited her out, or if YouTube edited her out, or whatever, et cetera, et cetera. She wasn't going to win. It's the principle of the thing. And there was a lot of backlash when it came to her exclaiming that she was lied about. Like, they lied on her name, basically. It was a lie. She came in 3rd, and the rules were the rules. If you fell asleep or you didn't move, you were disqualified. And for them to not disqualify the person that fell asleep and didn't move and put her back a spot was very upsetting to her. And so there were, of course, a lot of questions of why now? Why are you coming out now? You know, what do you want him to do about it? You were never going to win, so what's the big deal? It's a principle of the thing, and being a woman in a man's space in what feels to be a man's space, can already be tense for a lot of people. And then to have your position, being in the top 3 is extremely respectful. You know, it's respectable, especially when it comes to something as what I believe competitive as it was that day. It's mean. And so I wholeheartedly believe that she felt and experienced people being mean to her in that moment. People being mean when Jimmy chose Logan, if she rose her hand and said, I'll go with you, and then him choosing someone else, quite possibly for the optics. Is Logan more popular? Maybe. Is Logan going to bring in more views? Quite possibly. Are you going to get better sound bites from Logan looking for someone in this big stadium? Quite possibly. But in that moment, it's going to feel, no, you. Like, I don't want you. It's the feeling of, like, being picked last in gym class. It's the feeling of, like, not being put on, like, a sports team if you tried out and all this stuff. Everyone can feel that feeling of not just rejection, but complete, like, isolation. So I feel it. I know what she's feeling. And to have it on screen, like, to live on forever, the moments that she feels that she's in, like, a boys club, it's gut-wrenching for sure, especially if you're not the type of person to be, like, always in the drama, and, you know, you don't experience that type of stuff. You don't, like, have, like, the calluses built up for that type of energy around you. Yeah, so interesting. So she got a lot of backlash. She went on the H3 podcast to talk about it some more. It was a little confusing, when she was talking about it, because there was a lot going on. There's a lot of names. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of words. And then this happened. Then she put out an apology to Mr. Beast. She deleted her first tweet and said, I would like to apologize to Mr. Beast. I should have expressed my feelings privately and handled this directly. I will be removing all of the posts where I talk about Creator Games and Jimmy. I will be honest in that the thousands of death threats I've received today are a contributing factor, but I do also sincerely hear the feedback from so many of you. So this was a moment where she felt like she did wrong by pointing out how she was wronged. And that is also a very well-known emotion as well. And it's disappointing and it's extremely heartbreaking for her to finally find the peace and, like, the energy and, like, the right headspace to upload this, like, to put it on the internet and speak her truth about what she experienced at Creator Games 2 years after fearing the NDA and what could happen. the non-disclosure agreement, which a lot of people sign when you're doing big things that you aren't allowed to talk about, and et cetera, et cetera. And then that happened. So of course, people were immediately going to be extreme. It's the internet. Death threats are so absolutely unnecessary. And it's frightening that so many people will risk their own freedom to send a death threat to someone that they don't know because they like another creator. What is wrong with you? Crystalline says this is unfair what they did to her. Absolutely. Absolutely completely unfair. 100%. And now when Rosana Pansino was on H3 podcast, she was talking about how she did contact Jimmy. She was like messaging back and forth, and she said, get on a phone call. Or he said, let me get on a phone call and we'll talk about it. And she said, absolutely not. I want you to send me an email, send me a DM, put it down in writing, what happened, what you remember, and why. You know, if you want this, you know, I have questions about this. If you want to answer my questions, put it into writing, because in a message, in an email, you can be held liable. It's there. But in a voice call, you can say, I didn't say that. In a non-recorded voice call, it's very easy to say, well, you know, I didn't say that, because there's no record of it. There's no proof. So that's also why Rosana was kind of upset when she first was seeing the responses of her initial tweet. It was because she wanted to have the conversation with Mr. Beast, but it wasn't going to happen the way that he wanted it to happen, because she knew that if it happened the way over the phone he wanted it to happen, there's no paper trail. So having death threats strewn at you from the millions and millions and millions of people that are completely obsessed with Mr. Beast is absolutely scary. And I think it would almost get anyone to remove all of their posts and say, I'm sorry. And then, about two days later, she tweeted again, and she says, I redact my apology to Mr. Beast of not settling things privately. So she said, Mr. Beast did these things, then she apologized, and then she said, no, just kidding, I don't apologize. Based on recent new information and developments behind the scenes, I have learned that certain issues will never be handled privately. They will only be dismissed or covered up privately. Moving forward, I do promise not to drop an ill-timed music video. So this is funny because after she removed her apology, she had a music video that was coming out. It was like a cover of a song, and it came out just like the day after. And everyone sort of felt like it was a view grab, you know, cash grabs, where it's kind of like easy money for a creator. It was kind of like a view grab. So she was hot, she was trending, and then of course, drop your music video, people are going to watch it. But I mean, it's not like she was really making money off of it. You don't really make money off of covers of songs. And then she said, moving forward, I do promise not to drop an ill-timed music video, completely poor timing, my bad, and will word things more clearly in the future. Never my intention to downplay anyone's experiences. I am just learning to find my own voice and to be a safe space for others. And that last sentence, I think, is absolutely fantastic, because it is really easy on the internet to feel like you are not allowed to share your own voice, your own opinions, in fear of upsetting people or being on the wrong side of an issue, or, making your current followers mad and unsubscribing. You have that fear for sure, especially if you didn't start your career online as someone who just voices their opinions. And so it's definitely fearful. I had that fear when I started making Lily's News, because I was like, well, I have this other channel, and, you know, potentially those followers will come over and watch me, and I don't want them to think that I'm putting on a persona, but I just am doing something different on my other channel than here. This is where I get to tell all my opinions, and I'm happy and I love it. But there is fear there, because you don't want to, you don't want to upset the crowd because they're there to see you, right? So I get it. A little intermingling of the drama of Colleen Ballinger in all of this. We all remember Colleen Ballinger, the girl with the ukulele and the toxic gossip train. She was gross and disgusting, and she was a nightmare. And unfortunately, her and Rosana Pansino have a history online. Rosana's nephews played with Colleen's kids. It was a whole thing, right? So like they grew up online together. They're going to cross paths. They're going to make content together. They're going to be friendly with each other. And everyone, once the Colleen Ballinger thing sort of exploded, that was an explosion of drama and tea, which was actually danger and danger and danger and fear and illegalities. Everyone has been asking, Rosana, what are your thoughts on Colleen Ballinger? Tell me your thoughts. Like, we want to hear your thoughts. And she didn't say anything until just yesterday. So let's talk about this. This was really interesting. So what she has to say about Colleen, she says, the whole situation makes me feel sad and breaks my heart. I'm still processing my feelings. I do believe that the behavior was inappropriate, mean-spirited, and I no longer communicate with her. I found out when everyone else did, perhaps even later. When the news broke, I was traveling out of state to finally pick up all the things my dad left for me after he passed away and to help my mom go through more of his belongings. It was emotionally exhausting. I was not online much at all because I was focusing on my own healing with my family. I have not said anything publicly for a few reasons. 1, I do not have any new information or insight to add. I never personally witnessed that kind of behavior, wasn't aware of it, nor did I participate. My memories of our time together were with family and was very wholesome. My nephew adored her son, and they loved playing together. Obviously, I don't support or condone the behavior that was made public. I feel that the most important thing in this situation is that the affected people's voices are heard. I believe they now are. 3, I like to hear both sides when possible. While it's easy to jump onto the side of public opinion, I was hoping for some sort of apology or explanation at some point, which hasn't happened. Because we can all say that the toxic gossip train was not an apology. It was really just saying, yeah, I did it. I did it. I hope people come to understand that peer pressuring others to speak on issues before they are ready can be unhealthy. Please be mindful that everyone processes emotions differently and at different speeds. My timeline is not someone else's timeline. I am learning that I tend to process things slower, and that's okay. And I think Rosana outwardly, like from what I can see, has done so much acknowledgement of who she is in just the past couple of weeks. Having the wavering of the Mr. Beast, you're an asshole. I apologize. I don't apologize. I take my apology back. And then to have this response to the people who have been asking her to have a response to the Colleen Ballinger situation, I think is fantastic and beautiful growth for a person, and recognizing how they process things, and then being able to process it and actually verbalize it, write it down, put it out to the internet in such a well sorted fashion, I think is absolutely fantastic. This statement was really good. This statement was clear, it was concise, it was to the point, and it was a very it wasn't, I don't want to say slick, but it was a reminder that your life is not my life. To the people who are chronically online and only follow the drama, she is not that. Like, she is making content and TV shows, and raising money for all the different things. Like, she's busy. She's going through family things, and to experience a death in the family while being berated online for your comment about someone else's misuse of the internet, and their own power, is definitely going to take some time to figure out in your own brain and your soul, especially since you had a friendship with them. And I think now was a really great time when she was kind of hot on the trending line online, like on Twitter and stuff, to make her comment. And I think it was a great comment. And I hope it kind of jogged people to be like, oh, okay, maybe I get a little bit more that the people that we are requesting to comment on something are also doing other things. They're not just waiting for the drama to hit and then hopping on Twitter, that type of stuff. So that is Rosana and Colleen Ballinger. On to the Mr. Beast drama. So there is this Mr. Beast drama is absolutely freaking bonkers. Okay, so Mr. Beast, we talked about Mr. Beast, fixed 100,000 blind people and now they can see, and everyone was like, why does it take a rich white guy in the middle of the country to make everyone's help everyone's eyesight or something so simple, with a simple little surgery? Why does it take that? Mr. Beast took his actions to Africa and built 100 wells of fresh water available at these wells for about 500,000 people. And there was an article written that Yahoo News posted, and it was very much a criticism to the potential white savior complex that Mr. Beast has. Now, I want to make it clear that, I'm sure he does have some sort of white savior complex. Absolutely. But I can honestly almost say that I don't think it actually plays here. So Mr. Beast went over to Africa with a big team of friends and helpers, and they dug these wells and they got fresh, clean water to 500,000 people that needed fresh, clean water. That needed water that you didn't have to boil, that you didn't have to sanitize, that you didn't have to walk miles and miles to, that you didn't have to struggle to get. So you're getting a better life. You're getting easier access to water. You're getting better food because clean water makes better food. You're getting living longer. You're getting healthier. You're getting more out of life because you don't have to struggle or spend an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours or half a day or a full day out of a week getting fresh water. All of these instances are true for someone in the world. All of those instances are true for someone in the world. It may take one person from the family to walk 12 hours, gather water, walk 12 hours back to have water for a couple of days. That is true for someone in the world. The entire world does not all have fresh water. In the United States of America, there are people without fresh water, fresh, clean drinking water. But available from the tap. That it's crazy to think that someone just trying to help people get clean water is drama. So that's my stance. But also, I have to look at things from both sides. Mr. Beast did a really great thing. He's been doing really great things. He's been doing things that governments should easily be able to do, but it is taking a rich white man in the middle of America to do it, because the governments that are voted in and are supposed to be taking care of these infrastructures for human beings all over the world. I'm not just saying Africa, and I'm not just saying the United States, all over the world. We can find issues in Canada, in Mexico, in France. We can find all these issues everywhere, and these governments are terrible. Okay, I am an anarchist today. These governments are terrible and they're not doing the right thing, and they're taking up problems with the people who are just trying to do a little bit of the right thing because they are incapable of. So this article on Yahoo News was absolutely diabolical. Let me see if I have it right here. Okay, great. Oh, I need to zoom in because, oh my gosh, I can't see anything today. I need glasses, better ones. Better glasses. Okay, so it's titled Mr. Beast Faces Due Criticism, Admits His Humanitarian Efforts Might Get Him Canceled. And you see it online all the time. He always gets crap. He always gets heat. He always gets hatred from people whenever he does anything. Anything at all. But that comes with the territory. This man has over 100 million subscribers. He gets like 80 million views in like 3 hours on a video. Not everyone watching is gonna love you, and of course people are going to try. So Mr. Beast is in hot water once again after posting a video. Blah, 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 blah. Combined, those 100 wells are going to give around 500,000 people fresh water to drink, Mr. Beast claims. So during the 10-minute video, Donaldson receives an abundance of praise and thanks from villagers, blah, blah, blah. Is this video that Mr. Beast made possibly, quite possibly, perpetuating the idea that everyone in Africa lives in huts and, like, is covered in dirt and all that stuff? Yes, Africa is a massive continent, and there are so many styles of life in Africa, and it is very easy for people to not realize that for some reason, which is disturbing just as a start. So if you believe that there's one stereotypical lifestyle, way of life in Africa, you already have a problem. Like, you're broken and you need fixing, and you need to look into it a little bit more. So there was talks about how this video might continue to perpetuate that idea, and I can see that argument. I can understand that argument, and that's not good. We don't want to continue to perpetuate that idea. Africa is so incredible. Africa is so absolutely incredible, and to get stuck on that moment, that sort of argument for this video that Mr. Beast posted, is a little tough for me, because I think we have to get past that a little bit to get to the really good stuff that happened. There are claims from a aspiring politician that it's so weird. This whole thing was so weird. Though most of the, okay, so there was backlash. Sorry, let me just find, I didn't mark right in this article. Prominent activist, Mwangi, I'm pronouncing that so incorrectly, my apologies, compared Jimmy's humanitarian efforts to the Kenyan government, saying, "We are a shameful, horrible country, a begging nation governed by millions." So that's the perpetuation, like, Africa needs saving, that Africans need the help of Western nations and the white people to save them, which they don't at all. God, it makes me want to, like, pull my teeth out. Okay, so he continued, "We are a shameful, horrible country. Every 5 years, we give newly elected members of parliament and senators a grant, car grant, fuel for those cars every month, but we have no money to drill boreholes for our people. We are a begging nation governed by multi-millionaires." Donaldson's actions were praised by Kenyan journalist Fernando Omondi, who directed his criticism at the government. "What Mr. Beast has done for the thousands of residents who will now access clean water is laudable. Could you direct that anger towards your elected leaders? It's embarrassing that a YouTuber jetted into Kenya on a charity tour to perform tasks our taxes should have completed ages ago." And that moment should be the focus of the video. These are things that should have been done and should continue to be done. There was concern about the wells and the upkeep of the wells, and that people aren't going to know, and that in 5-10 years these wells aren't going to work, and then these people who are going to be without drinking water again. These are not humans who know nothing. These are not humans who are incapable of learning how to upkeep a well. And it's laughable to think that that's not going to be part of the process of getting these wells. That's laughable. So that was, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because you can see the fantastic humanitarian efforts. You can see the wonderful amounts of change, and just helpfulness and just less time consuming action to get fresh drinking water for these people who now have access to a fresh water well. You can see all that good stuff. And then you get met with like one crappy article that's going to do its very, very best to drill in these holes of just contempt and hatred and upset. Go build a well for yourself. Go follow that and continue to drill wells and build more functioning systems. Just be better. Don't complain about someone doing something good. You do something good. Also, like, add to it. You shouldn't be mad at someone for doing something good. Because what, like that, because you're just showing your true colors. You suck. You suck, then you suck. You're a person who sucks. And I just thought it was insane. I just thought it was absolutely, that's bonkers. That's bonkers. The government needs to take note that we see Africa, we see the struggles, we understand, and there are people everywhere who are willing to lend a hand. The government needs to take note that just because someone helps doesn't mean you're helpless. Doesn't mean you need help. If you want help and you get help and then it's good, then what's the problem? We have been talking about the Sniper Wolf Jax Films scenario that went down, and I have a little bit of an update. So, Jax Films, Sniper Wolf, for anyone who needs a little update. Jax Films and Sniper Wolf got into it. Jax Films has been criticizing Sniper Wolf's content because she plays all these TikToks and all these videos and never credits any of the creators in them, and she adds nothing. So it's really just freebooting someone else's content, and she's making millions and millions and millions off of it, like millions of views a day, millions of dollars into her bank account. And so Jax Films was attempting to hold her accountable for continually stealing content. And so Sniper Wolf got mad about that, and she doxed him. She drove to his house and posted a video and a picture on Instagram of his home. She blurred out a couple of things, but it was boom right there. She has about 5 million followers on Instagram, so that's really cool. Jax Films obviously got mad and said, that's not right. I don't like that. YouTube, you need to take care of this. And YouTube said, well, we don't really like how all of this is going down on both sides. So Sniper Wolf will be demonetized and stop doing it. Like, be nice to each other. Which I thought was absolutely ridiculous. So they both sort of stepped back a little bit. Sniper Wolf said sorry after she got in trouble and she was demonetized for I think it's probably just going to be about a month, maybe 2 months, like maybe 60 days. But I feel like that's even pushing it for YouTube, because Sniper Wolf is a moneymaker and you don't want to lose all that money. So So Jax Films kind of took a step back and said, hey, this is a problem. We're having a problem here. People now know where I live, and it's completely unacceptable, and we don't like this. So a couple days off, about a week or something, and then Jax Films came out and said, look, I have to continue to do what I'm doing. Like, I have this channel. This is my job. I am going to continue to make content. But I just have to figure out how to do it in a different way. So Jax Films has started doing creator bingo instead of Sniper Wolf bingo. So over on Twitch, he streams, and he is now critiquing content that was sent to him and asked by the content creator to critique their content, starting with thumbnails, video creation, topics, and all this stuff. Everything is being critiqued in a friendly manner. They've asked for they've asked for advice. They've asked for how to be a better content creator from a very well-seasoned content creator himself, with the help of the entire Twitch chat, which I think is fantastic. And what I've seen so far has been really nice and really friendly and really, really good for the content creators that are able to get up on the creator bingo and to be talked about and to be broken down. And I think it's fantastic advice. I think it's wonderful, and I think it's great, and I love it so much, but it makes me really mad that he is no longer, I don't know why. I mean, I know why, but there had to have been some sort of discussion between either him and YouTube or him and like Sniper Wolf lawyers or something like that as to why he is, instead of just taking a break and going back to Sniper Wolf Bingo and standing his ground. There's also the risk of, if you continue, people know where you live and they're going to show up at your house. So I would love to see him get back to critiquing a person who has stolen thousands of hours of content and just re-uploaded them on her own channel. I would love to see him continue to critique that person, because it was really shedding a fantastic light. I felt like every day more and more people were talking about Sniper Wolf stealing content. More and more creators were coming out and saying, she stole my content. Like, she took my video, she cropped my name out of it, and she just put it on her channel and said, wow. So I thought it was fantastic, and it's laying down a precedent that you can't do that, as there's plenty of creators who try to do it. They try to remake what Sniper Wolf does in their own way, and just stealing content is stealing content, and it's easy to steal content. So I thought that was, it's great, like the pros and cons. I hope one day he is able to get back to Sniper Wolf Bingo once his safety concerns are taken care of. Hopefully, I don't know if he's moving. He mentioned that he might be. Anywho, that was the Jax Films update. He's back streaming. A couple more things I wanted to talk about. This one was a wild story to me. So an Alabama mayor, F.L. Bubba Copeland, was mayor of a small town called Smith Station in Alabama. He was a pastor, and he owned a grocery store, and he had accounts online where he presented himself as a woman, and he would wear stereotypical women's clothes, the makeup and everything. And there was a news station, a very conservative news station, like outwardly conservative, like they are, like you can't deny it. They promote that, called 1819 News. And they decided to air all of this out publicly. Did people know about it? Maybe a couple. I believe his wife knew about this. But like widely known? No, it wasn't known about. And then 2 days after 1819 News released their story on Copeland, Bubba Copeland ended his own life. A little snippet from the 1819 News. It wasn't just a little bit about it. It was multiple articles about Copeland, and all of the words that people use to describe anyone who isn't like a cis person. It's very jarring, very jarring. So this is from, let me pull this article up to make sure that I know where this is from NPR. The social media accounts belonging to Copeland described a transgender woman in the process of medically transitioning. 1819 News said, but Copeland told the outlet he was not actually doing so. He added that his wife knew of his private hobby. Copeland told the congregation on Wednesday at a weekly prayer service that he was under an internet attack, and he admitted to taking photos of himself in women's clothing, but added that a lot of things that were said were taken out of context. And the article is not who I am or what I am. I apologize for any embarrassment caused by my private or personal life that has come public. And 2 days later, and hours before Copeland's death, the outlet released another article focused on fictional stories and social media posts it says were produced under Copeland's pseudonym. So this man had multiple accounts online, as different women portraying himself in a different fashion than he does on a daily basis in the world. And this 1819 News found this and said, we got it. We're going to go hard. And there has been a lot of discussion since this has happened about airing out someone's private life, which is very, yes, you can't do that. You know, like, there's always been issues with people, like when I was growing up, there were always issues with people sort of outing someone else, sort of seeking privacy and and friendship by sharing something with someone, you know, not necessarily a secret, but a part of them that you didn't need the entire school or Twitter or Instagram or your Finsta to know about, and then it either slipping out or you purposefully telling someone that. It's a problem. You can't just out someone. You know, if someone says, hey, I'm gay to you, and you say, okay, and they say, but please don't tell anyone, you should respect that person just a little bit to say, okay, and then not actually tell someone. It's not that hard. And now when it comes to these news outlets who, when they find something, it was done so maliciously that I'm surprised that they're surprised that something like this happened. I'm surprised that they're surprised. There shouldn't be any surprise that this man unfortunately and unnecessarily took his own life after all of his private life was aired out to the nation. Like, this was like, it spread very fast. And for anyone to feel surprised at that is shocking. You took this man's very clear private life, private information, you know, what's done in the shadows type of energy, and you just put it out there, and then you go, oh my God, really? No, that's like, what do you expect to happen? Like, you maliciously attacked and aired out this man's, and I don't want to call it dirty laundry, just their laundry, you know, just their private laundry. You aired it out, and then you're shocked that something happened like this. Like, humans are at a breaking point right now. Have some damn respect. Like, just because it's not what you're into doesn't mean that it's wrong. There's a lot of things wrong. And just because you're against it, or like your fictional book from, like, I don't know, the 13 AD or whatever says something maybe in a translated language that was translated, it's a freaking fairy tale. Like, maybe if you're following that, okay, take a moment and realize that we're all breathing the same air, you know, we're all clocking into our jobs, and would you like your personal life aired out? Have some damn respect. So rest in peace, Mr. Copeland. He was like, his funeral was like the day before his wedding anniversary. Like, come on. Disgusting. Oh, that story like really hurt me. That was really, really extremely disappointing. And this was a good man too. Like, this man, very small community, but this man gathered up the strength that he had during a massive storm and got this community through the immense tragedy that happened. Lives were lost, homes destroyed. And he said, let me handle this. And he stood up and he gathered everyone and he got the morale back up, and he took people through he walked people through the tragedy. He was a freaking pastor. You know, like, what the... Terrible. Just terrible. So to end the day, I thought that I had more. I want to talk about this mushroom lady so bad. Oh my gosh. Oh, and the taking care of Maya case. There's so much to talk about. This mushroom lady, this lady in Australia, I tried to talk about it last week. This lady in Australia, may or may not have, killed her family with death cap mushrooms. You guys have probably heard about it, but she was like arrested. They're oh my gosh, it's crazy. It's a crazy story. I want to talk about it so bad, but I thought that it would probably be the best to end the day on something that you may not have even been aware of. Flavor Flav, we all know Flavor Flav with the clock. He sang the national anthem, and I just need everybody to experience this, okay? So I still have my friend's secret back in high school, and I'm keeping it a secret. Yes, right, Crystalline? And in my opinion, if 1819, okay, so before we get to Flavor Flav, in my opinion, if 1819 News found that information, shouldn't there be a conversation? Like, wouldn't you, I don't know, if you want to call yourself a reputable journalist, wouldn't you reach out to this person, and before you air it all out, wouldn't you say, like, hey, like, is this public? Like, I don't know. I just feel like we have lost the humanity to each other. Like, where is it? Where did it go? Where did it go? Like, give people some grace. Okay? The world is crazy right now. And plus, holiday season is coming. Oh my God. People are losing their minds. Okay. Flavor Flav is singing the national anthem. What game was it? It was at a game. It was at a Atlanta Hawks game, Milwaukee Bucks game. Okay, we have to experience this as a group. And I am obsessed. I'm so excited for you to get this. Okay. Game. All right, let me just make sure that switched over. Wait a second. Volume is up. Okay. Flavor Flav sings the national anthem. Oh, this is from the House of Highlights channel, 11.4 million subscribers. I love it. I'm obsessed.
We're so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bomb burst, staying in there.
Just for the record, this man's in his 60s. I think he was like 64 years old. So, I mean, just for the record, this man is 64 years old.
Gave proof to the night that our flag was still there.
I also think it's very appropriate. Isn't it Veterans Day? Is today Veterans Day, or is it just being like honored today? I don't know. But I think this is one of the most fantastic things I've ever experienced in my entire life. Flavor Flav singing the national anthem. And people are enjoying it. This is crazy. I also want to say that a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, rapper Flavor Flav. Flavor Flav was just a hype man. Flavor Flav was a hype man. Yeah, he had a couple bars here and there, but he was a hype man. Okay? Flavor Flav wasn't like leading talent. Oh, I'm obsessed. Remember, you guys remember Flavor of Love? Do you guys remember Flavor of Love? I love it.
Oh, say, does that star span?
This is where we started to get a little worried. This was the moment where things got a little iffy for me. I was like, "Uh-oh, we're having a little trouble. That's okay. We might get back, we might not." But
Go banner yet wave.
the captions are also so fantastic. That star for space, Bengal buyer vanished yet with. Come on, you two. The crowd is really feeling it. The crowd said, we're getting through this together. And it gets even better.
Or the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Let me just say, we think it's done, but it's not done.
Of the brave, of the brave.
Iconic. This is fantastic.
Flav.
Flava Flav. I am obsessed. That might just be my new ringtone. Crystal Lynn says, yes, I used to watch that show. Flavor of Love was crazy. Didn't Tila Tequila have one? Was it Shot at Love? It was so funny. Yes, support the Flav. Yes, David. It was that was a really sad story with FL Bubba Copeland. But that's it, guys. That's my Lily's news. That's what I got. So I hope you guys have a good weekend. I guess it's winter now, so good luck with that. And I'll see you all next week. Thanks for